All right, we're going to continue playing with strings again. We're going to use the substring method now to play with this really fast. So we were playing with the index of, and we had that test. So I'm going to go ahead and make a new helper method just to throw this together. Private void, play with substring. And I'm going to change my start method to be play with substrings. We have the sample other value and that index. And I'm hiding that from us because, again, when we're dealing with the user, that text itself is not available to us. We actually just get it as a parameter. So that means our logic has to be independent of what is happening. So I have some quick sample code right here. I have string part 1 is sample.substring passing 5 and no other parameter. And part 2 is sample.substring passing it parameters of 10 and 15. So we're going to go ahead and play this. And here's part 1. Words are niftier than others. Here's part 2. R. Now notice how the R is a little off from words. What does that tell us? That the space is actually at 10. We know it's at 10 because it includes that thing. So spot 10 goes from here. So 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, but not including 15. So I get space R space. If I put this as 20, comma 15. Let's play this. Oh noes, doth crash and burn. String index out of bounds exception. That is an unpleasant experience. We are going out of bounds of the string. You can't go backwards. You can't go from 20 to 15. Doesn't work. This number must be less than that number. Say I pass it 50. Again, string index out of bounds exception. It's at this line right here, line 53, because sample.substring 50 doesn't exist. It's too big. You can't put a number that's bigger than length. So the biggest possible value is sample.length, parens. The end of the string, that last spot, from the end to the end is nothing, and so part 2 is blank. So the biggest possible value you can put is the length. So length minus 1 is the last spot. But you can put dot length as the only parameter on there. So the question was, I thought the last spot was length minus 1, and it is. But remember how we had on the index of, and we did the quotes and the quotes? And it gave the quotes in the space, and it gave us 0 for when the blank quotes was inside the blank space. And it's because it goes up to the spot before there. It's okay. It can go right up to that edge at the beginning of right at 0, and go on the other side at the end of the string. It can go all the way up to at the very end. Oh, it's at the end of the string. It's not going to crash. But the largest possible value is the string dot length. So whatever the string is, dot length is its maximum possible value. So just as an FYI, so we have that substring, and that's with a single parameter. The substring with 2 parameters, again, the first parameter has to be less than the first, and the last parameter, the last spot, can't be anything bigger than dot length. So I can say, for example, 5, comma, sample.length. Give a space in there, make it look nice. And so 5 and 5, comma, sample.length are the same substring. Words are niftier than others. So substring with 5 is the same as passing at 5 and dot length, because it goes up to, but not including that last spot after. Remember, we don't include dot length because length is outside of bounds. So having that dot length right here goes up to the very, very end, the last piece, and not including after it. And so that's how we have the idea that we can use that. Nicholas, question?
So why would we use dot length and have the same effect as just using
Well, say for example, if I didn't want to put it on 5 though, if I wanted to put it on, say for example, 14. So I want, this one gets from here to the end, and I want only from another part to the end. So that was a sample of just showing what this is the same as of 5. 5 is the same as 5 and dot length. But if I want a different part, I could do this. And like, oh, I want to get this other part. So you generally aren't going up to the end as your second parameter. That's usually not the case unless you're looking for other substrings. So good question. Why would I want to do that? Generally, you're not going to use sample.length as that second parameter unless you're looking for a separate set of information. So can you? Yes. But usually you're not going to do an exact duplicate of the first parameter and the single parameter version. Now, both of these methods, part 1, part 2, both those variables, have no impact at all on sample. Sample is unchanged. That's why I'm assigning it into a new variable. Yeah, both these methods do not have any impact on sample itself. It's looking inside sample. It doesn't change sample at all.